Homestuck can do everything that 17776 does, but better and longer.
Say something funny.
Homestuck is better than 17776.
So fucking funny.
Hello.
What's
The
going
world.
on, gamers?
All you gamers out there.
All you football players.
How do you feel about football?
Welcome to the cast on a thing we read. I don't know if there's any medium you can ascribe it to.
It's a multi-medium or a multimedia.
I don't know, what are these things called? Like I can't say web comic, but like, you know what I mean, like on web multimedia story thing. That's the genre. Web multimedia story thing.
It's a column.
The newest piece from Andrew Hussey, 17776. Not actually by Andrew Hussey.
Actually by John Boyes.
John Boyes.
What a boy.
What a boy, because this thing was very good.
So
I think I have the audacity to say it was great.
I would easily say that it's great. But again, you took your sweet fucking time to read this, Joshua.
Hey.
Why was that?
Okay. This is something you want to read in one sitting. I knew if I tried to do it any other time, I'd be interrupted by someone or something. I didn't want to get interrupted. I wanted to be able to do this in one go without any breaks. And I think it was worthwhile that I waited so I can get that experience.
And how was your experience when you sat down and read
it was very good. Like, I don't think it's like the absolute best thing ever, like a lot of people are saying. I think it was very good, very interesting, and very entertaining. Like, with stuff like this, especially like the biggest comparison's obviously going to be Homestuck, which we'll get to. There's a lot of parts where it's just very boring, and you have to get through these super boring parts to get to the interesting parts. Like, this entire thing was completely gripping. Never once was I bored. I was just interested the entire time.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I forgot to do my opening thing that I was going to do. I have a Capri Sun here, and I'm going to drink it.
That was your bit?
It's not a bit. I have a Capri Sun here, and I just drank some of it.
Is anyone else seeing this?
Anyway.
Is anyone seeing this shit? Anyway, yeah, I'd say it was very gripping all the way through. I was only like a little bit bored about the timeout when we was trying to time out the game.
Which one is that?
The one where he's in the cave. The dude is playing the game in the cave.
Oh, I thought that was one of the best parts of the whole thing.
What did you like about it?
Was that the conversation where someone was talking about because there was so much content in this thing that I'm trying to remember like which part was in which part sometimes.
Yeah, I gotcha.
So it's tough. So like, was that the one where it was either a girl or a guy, I can't remember, was talking about their grandpa and the grandpa dying or whatever?
No, that was before.
Fuck.
That. So 11, right? The main character. She like calls down to Earth to like try to interact with people, and she talks.
The main character is a she.
They're fucking satellites. Who cares?
Yeah, I always imagined as a guy for some reason.
They call each other sister, so I'm just gonna.
Gonna
call it a girl.
That makes sense.
I think Juice is like in my mind, Juice is like a fucking Frenchman. He like twirls his mustache. He's French.
To me, I have this perception like the main character is like literally just John Egbert from Homestuck, even though he's a fucking satellite. And then the sister is just a generic girl. I don't know the best way to explain it. And then Juice to me is like the most generic frat boy possible, even though he's like actually kind of nice in the end. That's the one thing I like.
He's a
they
huge
nerd.
nerd.
They sort of make these things like these. He like lean towards maybe he's an asshole, but he ends up being like really nice. Like everyone's really nice. There's like no bad people in this story.
We're talking about like things flying through space. These are.
It's so like that was my first observations. Like, how genius can you be to think? Just think of, okay, these satellites that went out of commission in like the 80s. Like, I'm gonna tell a story about the future of Earth through these satellites that gain sentience in space. Like, who thinks of that? Who even thinks of that?
Is that if you leave a computer, like a primitive computer, just alone for 15,000 years, it will develop sentience? Yeah, literally, John Boy's a literal genius.
Yeah, like, and the whole concept of, like, displaying this utopian/dystopian future through the players of one specific game in one specific country. You know what I mean?
And they show like 5 or 6 games, right?
Yeah, like the premise, we never even got to the premise of this, is that the premise is it's in like, I guess, what is it, like 2020 something, everyone on Earth loses the ability to have children and everyone stops aging. So everyone is
like 2026.
Yeah, everyone is immortal for all the time. So 15,000 years in the future, in 76, it just shows what the world is like. These people have been alive for that long, and they try to they convey this through one specific subject. Like, they narrowly show it through how the game of football is played during this time.
And he tells this story of like humanity's purpose has completely changed. Now everyone lives forever, and they're going to live forever. So their one purpose in life is to waste time.
And I find it really interesting that we only see America. Like, this is the only country we know absolutely that this is the case for is America. Like, everywhere else in the world, we have no idea what's going on. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they're totally doing their own things. They probably don't care about football that much.
Yeah, but speaking of football, because I don't know if you got this feeling, I've never been more invested in the concept of a sport or football in general. I have now gained a sort of appreciation for football that I never had, even though this isn't real football. You know what I mean?
I would love to watch this type of football, but I have no interest in football.
This type of football would be like the best thing ever. Like, I would be a huge football fan in the future. But like,
yeah,
even aside from it, I've just now gained an appreciation for the concept of sport that I never had. Like, and it's between this and listening to the Procrastinator Sportscast today. But like, I've now sort of gained this appreciation for sports that I never really had, and I'm now like interested and looking forward to the upcoming college football season that I'm going to be going to the games for. Like, this high concept sci-fi thing about the tragedy of immortality has made me interested in football. Who would have thought, like, a piece of media like that would be making me interested in football?
It's weird how far it goes from football, and yet it's still about it.
Like, the genius thing about it is an outsider would say this doesn't even resemble normal football, but deep down it still is football. Like, you have to get the ball to the end zone. That's it. Like, everyone's trying to get you. You have to get the ball to the end zone. Like, the concept is still there. It's just taken completely into this insane scale. Like, one of the ones I really loved what is your favorite game that was played? You see, I don't really know. I like a lot of them for different reasons. One that definitely comes to mind right off the bat was the one where people like started like taking territory on the field, and this whole geopolitical conflict.
Oh, that was Juice's
on the field favorite. With like,
because he's a weirdo.
With like fucking like little mini factions like developing, and like
right.
these
so what happens?
They start renting out space on the field to like people to live there.
Yeah, like the teams break off and they each take possession of like their part of the field, and then they split off into like individual people, and they all own real estate. And then I love that they build a Bojangles on the field, and then they relocate the Bojangles. So it's like that's where the old Bojangles was, and this is the new one.
And you know it's so great how because the stadium has a like you can come back in the same game policy. What is it called?
Yeah,
Like,
because
you
they
can
already
leave
paid for their
policy.
ticket.
Yeah, if you pay for your ticket, you have a leave policy that people just like. This game has been going on for thousands upon thousands of years, and people are just
The only
coming back
playing
in and like
that-
just sitting around. Like every once in a while, they'll just come back to watch a little bit more, even though there's
Yeah,
no actual.
wasn't
game.
the only playing that like one person on the team will stop by and sit down there for an hour, like once a year.
Oh yeah, that was a great thing. Like I think it was once every couple of years, one player from the opposing team will just show up, sit down on like a lawn chair on this like own little section, and just kind of like sit there for a while and then leave after a couple of hours. And this is football in 1776. And I love the one where they did the typo in the coordinates, so it's like a cross-continental game, but the margin is just as wide as like a regular football field.
It wasn't a typo. They're like, yeah, they made it as wide as a normal football field, but it stretches from Canada to Mexico are each of the end zones. And
yeah, so it's like this
and then
little line
yeah.
that you kind of have to run down across the country. But then they get to a part where they accidentally hit. I guess they like just misstepped and they hit this canyon that's like you can't climb up the other side because I guess it's like inverted kind of. You know what I mean? That's how I'm imagining it.
Yeah,
right.
They just ended up in the bottom of a canyon.
I'm just imagining what you're like beating the shit out of each other, trying to get the football for 100 years.
No, that game has been going on for thousands of years, right?
And they're just
still going.
So that game's still going.
Time.
It never won.
The genius part about that one, I think, is it's like eventually that game will come to a close when they erode away the canyon into a walkable thing.
They have to wait like millions of years of erosion.
That game can conceivably go on for 1,000,000 years, and that's not even like a perceivable amount of time for the length that they're going to live. Right? They're going to live forever.
You can't, like, as humans, we can't, like, fathom infinity. We don't have the ability to do so. We can't comprehend it. Like, we can't comprehend an amount of time that has no end mentally. Like, you can try, but then it's like comprehending all of space. You know what I mean? Like, you can't do it. Like, you can't comprehend infinity. It's impossible. So,
yes.
So, like, when we think about it, like, these people, like, it's not that they're going to just live for a really long time. It's that they're going to live forever. Like, they're going to live in it. Like, we can't fathom that. Like I can't. Like, right now I'm trying to think of living forever, and you can't grasp
like
it.
This is how much has changed in 15,000 years. That is such a small amount of time compared to
infinity, and that's one of the big concepts that they get across. It's like this idea that they sort of use this little through how the game of football is played. They sort of do like a whole philosophical like diatribe on how on the cons of immortality, and it's genius. Like who would have think this way? Like, you know what I mean? Like who thinks this way? Like who creates a piece of media like this? It's just insane. And you know who does it? You know who does it? And I think this is the part where we've inevitably waiting to. You know who else did it? Andrew Hussey.
But it doesn't matter because the person who made 1776 never read Homestuck. It had no inspiration on this.
And that's absolutely astounding because it's the same concept essentially. It's it's exploring how vast the universe actually is through the concept of 4 kids playing a video game. So it's the same concept, but I would argue, and hear me out, that 17776 does it better. In all seriousness, none of a bit. Simply, and I've been a Homestuck, I was a really hardcore Homestuck fan in like high school, but I've sort of like grown out of it, but I still have a like deep-bound appreciation for Homestuck. And the thing about Homestuck is that it's so fucking long. Like, it takes eons to get through. Like,
which is why
my not all of it is interesting. Like, there's parts that are like fantastic and some of the best things ever, but there's parts that are like 3 hours straight of hell, and you just kind of have to power through it to get to it. It's almost like you could call it's like the challenge, like the thing, like the digi vlog, where like because you went through the challenge, you have much more pride in your fandom. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
yes.
Yes. So. But now we have 17776, who arguably does the exact same thing, but in 3 hours, with no boring parts.
And it's like infinitely engaging.
So it's essentially made Homestuck obsolete in a way. I hate to say that.
There's no reason to read it.
There's no reason to read Homestuck anymore, except that Homestuck has waifus. I mean, it's literally the only benefit. Like there's
waifus.
There's like cute girl characters that you can love, like fucking shut the fuck up. Shut up. Like Roxy.
Like Vriska. I'm a hippo.
So, yes. And Homestuck also has like. And the thing about Homestuck is has this disgusting like cesspool fandom that 17776 just simply does not have, because even if they're told it's exactly like Homestuck, is a 12-year-old boy girl that paints gray face paint that melts all over them really gonna read a story that they know is about football? No.
Wait, what did you call him, a 12-year-old boy girl?
Shut the fuck up. Shut up. But
you're not wrong though.
So like are they really? They're never going to read 17776, even if they're told it's like Homestuck, just because it mentions football. And
it's about
that's why I feel like 1776 is gonna be preserved for us, people like us. You know what I mean? It's gonna be the Homestuck, not polluted.
Even though there have been 17776 cosplayers.
How do you cosplay 17776? I don't understand.
They
just dress up like in like blocks of metal.
They dress up as 12 and Juice.
But they're just hunks of metal. I don't understand.
Have you seen the picture?
No, you gotta send it to me.
I'm gonna send it to you right now.
Also what I've heard it compared to, especially from Bad Saint, is the novel Infinite Jest, which, like Homestuck, is this super, super long, hard to get through thing that develops such a strong fandom because of how difficult it is to get through. Oh man, that is perfect. Holy shit.
Do you call that a fandom of Infinite Jest?
It's not a fan base. It's a group of elitist English professors. But
that's probably correct. Yeah.
But yeah, like I feel like 1776 has made like Homestuck and it, like obviously Homestuck and Infinite Jest have great things, but it's sort of taken this concept and made them virtually obsolete because it's so much easier to consume. And I like the shitty jazzy music. I love it. I love the soundtrack.
I love the aesthetic of, like, this man John Boyce has just mastered the art of Google Earth to the point where he's now told a story about immortality and football through importing shit into Google Earth.
I want to go back and watch all of his other videos because, like, I feel like this has helped me finally understand the appeal of sports. In
Yeah,
a way,
apparently a lot of his like sports columns are
Yeah.
sort of like this.
like, I just never understood how someone could be invested in sports. Like, I just never really grasped it because I wasn't, and I'm a selfish prick, so I'm like, I'm not, so I don't understand how anyone else could. And I mean, I did dabble in sports a little bit. I used to play tennis. I was on the swim team for a while, and I did enjoy both of those things, but I never like. But those again are not team sports. You know what I mean? They're like solo sports, so it's almost like it's almost like you could look at it as if you're playing against yourself in a way, like you're just trying to improve yourself. Well, like I now sort of understand the appeal of mass fanship for like enjoyment of team sports. In a way, like I can't see myself becoming like a sport guy. I mean, I can say I've developed more of an interest in football, but even then, I know I'm going to get bored of it right away because I'm gonna be like, well, they're not running across the entire country and hiding in hotels and shit. Like, like they're just running across a small field. But that's again going back to the whole genius thing, is that it's the same game. The concept is still there. It's just taken so like to massive proportions.
What I really love is that the only thing remaining is that is that you have a ball and you have end zones, and and as long as you interpret those two things, you can interpret anything as those two things and make it a game, and people will come and play it because they have nothing else to do.
And I love how they don't neglect games that involve a football that aren't generic football, like fucking what's the game called where you throw the ball in the air and you give the number
500. It is a game of football in which the ball is launched from a cannon in Alaska, and the end zone is anywhere you touch the ball.
You can
it's
get
just
it
anywhere in America.
But have you ever played real 500 on the playground?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just hilarious that they just take this children's playground game and make it like this massive scale like continental event, like
because there is no like attention to time. It's like if you launch a ball somewhere in the continent, people are going to drive to go find it just because they can.
Like I see all these people are like
there's
half the
no,
people are happy, half the people are miserable.
Like, there's no win. You don't win anything from winning the game. You just get to launch the balls for a while.
Like this world is so insane because like all these people, like half of them are like really content with their lives, but if you had the life like that, you could literally do anything.
So,
like I think Ben Saint said it best. Like all these people are miserable, and I'm just like, this is like my dream world. Like
I want to know.
It's a world free of worry.
I want to know what you feel about this, because people are split essentially down the middle, where it's like either this would be hell or this would be paradise. Where do you stand?
You see, I feel like I'd have like moments where I'm like, oh my god, and like, you know what I mean, like I go kind of crazy. But like overall, I think it's paradise.
That is why everyone plays these games, to distract themselves from thinking about it.
Think about it. If you lived in this world, you never have to work.
Yeah.
You never have to worry about getting money or anything. You can do whatever you want. If you have a creative project, you don't have to worry about getting it done in like a certain amount of time. You can do it whenever. And you could literally just I would be a professional football player in this world. Like I would.
Yeah.
It sounds so much fun. Like these
how,
national games.
Don't they say like essentially everyone will play football at some point in their life professionally?
Yeah.
Because
I like the
you
football
just have infinite time. Yeah, they still have football.
Going back to the 500 game, I love how they tell these, like, this is like just one example, but I love how these tell these like personal stories of individuals scattered throughout. Like they have this 500 game, and there's this woman who for thousands of years has been playing this 500 game and is never in the area where it lands. and it shows.
It's just so statistically improbable that you play this game for thousands of
Yeah.
years and never score a
And
point.
she's finally gonna get it, and it goes into this whole thing about now her life is like. She's like, what am I living for? You know what I mean? Like that she's gonna get it. She's almost sad that she's gonna get it, but then
she has like
doesn't
a crisis with her.
She doesn't even get it
manager
because it destroys a monument, which in turn is the last thing that technically could have died in this world, and everyone is devastated because it's like the last thing that could have been lost, in a way. And it's just like this
what
huge,
I like to think what happened in that game
national
is
thing
that like she was the one to get there, and she gave up the point. She said, I'm not getting this point. I'm grabbing the ball and I'm kneeling.
And by the way,
spoilers.
spoilers
Taking a knee,
for 17-7-76,
which in football is like it's a
Hello?
down. Right,
Hello?
and then she's like famous for being so compassionate
Wi-Fi
for
is
this
gone.
one thing that, for this artifact that died. This light bulb. It's a it's a light bulb.
No. No. No.
Hello?
No. We're back.
Yo, welcome back to as we were talking about the bulb being destroyed. Joshua has a lightning strike hit right near him, and his internet was destroyed momentarily.
It wasn't a lightning strike. It was the 500 ball.
Correct.
Anyway.
Indebatably. All right. So,
What were we?
I think we were talking about that girl who never scored any points.
Great character.
I love the little interaction at the fast food place as she's driving through, just getting fast food like like people do, and then the person's like, all right, it's like, all right, here's your Big Mac. Do you want any money with that? She's like, yeah, I'll take I'll take like $20. It's like, oh no, that's too much change. Just round it out to a even 20. Like money obviously has no meaning anymore.
So yeah, that's one thing I was confused about. The economy. Like
everyone lives in Perpetuum, so you don't need to eat food anymore. So there's no reason to produce things. There's like, I guess people produce things just to have something to do.
Yeah, like people go to their jobs.
Yeah.
Just as like a hobby almost.
Yeah, because they're living forever and you want to get your mind off of it as soon as possible.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, like most professions still exist simply because people want something to keep their mind off of it. There's someone for every profession that's gonna love it, no matter what it is. You know what I mean? Like, so that one person will just keep on doing it forever.
So the idea of like not really having an economy doesn't work in real life, because no one's going to do anything if just given the option to do nothing, or very few people are going to, because they'd rather pursue things with their time before they die. If you're not going to die, there's no reason to use your time on anything else. Correct?
Yeah, I guess the point is that economy is essentially a product of avoiding death.
Yes.
So
correct.
If death doesn't exist, there's no need for an economy.
Yeah, I feel like
really
they pretty much just have money around as like it's still kind of around. They never formally got rid of it,
I
right?
gotta open my door. Coco's scratching.
Oh my god.
Get in here, dog. back.
Welcome back.
Oh, what I think might be I guess what I was talking about is sort of like there's these like individual character narratives that are like sprinkled throughout.
Yeah, they'll tell like
under the
someone's
guise.
life story.
Mm-hmm. My favorite one, the one that I guess like literally fucked me up the most, was the one where I guess like the she's an old woman, like she was like an old woman, she was gonna die of cancer, but then she got better, so she was like all ready to go. But she was talking about how when she was a little kid, she got into football.
That was the one. Yeah, that was the one they called.
Because her grandpa was like a big Browns fan, which apparently like this really shitty team, and they would always lose. But there was like this thing that they bonded over, and he had this like giant like light display. Let's go Browns, and then like it was on, and she was like sleeping in the living room or something where it was, I think. And like in the middle of the night, the grandpa died, so they had to like, in all the chaos, she was just alone in the living room, staring at this thing, and she was like talking about how she doesn't get why it's still on after he died, in a way, and then right then and there they show the picture in like this pitch black page. They show this like the glowing thing of the Go Brown sign, and I'm like, holy shit, I'm fucked up.
Yeah, that was really sad. I think the saddest part is all those people who died right before the event.
Yeah, like all these like people, they talk about like how they're the last generation that will exist, and they're like the generation right before. Like if they would have lived a little longer, they'd all still be alive forever.
Yeah. But they just got lucky, right? Just being alive when it happened. I love that they never try to explain it. They just say it happened. Nobody knows why.
Reminder, kids, this is a story about how the game of football will be played in the future.
But it doesn't make sense? Doesn't it make sense? Because obviously in 15,000 years, football is not really going to be played. The only way that it would exist in 15,000 years is if all of the people who are alive today stayed alive.
And oh god, it's so genius. But there is one element I'd say I didn't like, and I thought was a little ham-fisted, so to say. And
what is it?
It could have been done worse, but the whole like global warming thing that they threw in there towards the end.
I don't think that was like necessarily like a preachy thing. I think that was just like everything melted. Like we've just been around for so long. It's all gone. It's all melted. This stuff is underwater. Who cares?
Almost felt like the creator was trying to get his like last minute little personal agenda in there. Like it didn't feel like natural with the story, so to say. It didn't. I don't know. To me, at least, it just felt like a little hammy. But
yeah,
I like the whole concept of like the motorboat game over the old New York City, where if the football fell in the water, it would turn into a diving expedition.
I really love the concept of underwater New York City. They actually
I gotta let my dog out.
No problem. They get I think they explain
dogs, kids.
in a part.
Leave, you won't. I say leave, you won't, and she immediately turns around and comes back into the room.
She won't.
I'm not back yet, but
she won't.
Now I'm back. She did.
All right. Yeah. Welcome back. In that part, they actually show like somewhere that's really close to where I used to live in New York.
That's cool.
And I kept thinking about it underwater. And it's really
scary.
Cool. No, I would love that. That sounds amazing.
Just swimming around New York.
Yeah. Who wouldn't want that?
And I love how they never show the United States in like the way it's shown on maps now. Like whenever they show like it as like a country on like a map, it's always like either flipped or like sideways. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. A lot of the times it's portrayed like upside down. Also, like Florida doesn't exist anymore, which is great.
It's underwater.
Which is a great thing. I would love to live in this future.
Isn't that going to happen in real life though? Like, isn't
Yeah.
Florida going to be underwater
Yeah.
in like a couple hundred years?
Yes. Good riddance. Who cares? Is there anything worth salvaging? I'd be upset about
Miami
New
Airport
York.
Convention Center.
Well, they can move it.
Make it the Atlanta Airport Convention Center. Next lowest state.
And like parts of Louisiana are underwater. It's a great. I I love that concept.
Man, this was good.
He dives into. We haven't even talked about like one of the best games, which was where they
Yes.
they redefine the end zone as like somewhere in DC, right? And they define the balls as any ball that Koy Detmer has signed, who's just like some irrelevant football player.
Mm-hmm.
So
It was
no one knows how many balls are in play, but if you get the most amount of balls into the end zone, you win.
Yeah, like the concept of like end zone is and like football is so loose now that they could turn a scavenger hunt into football. Like essentially the concept, like turning all the footballs into a group of judges to determine if your response is valid is a metaphorical end zone, and it's a game of football. So essentially, like it's just a shitty football player. I gotta actually open the door now.
Oh my god.
Okay, I'm back.
Look at this guy interrupting our pod. Hey, welcome back. So,
The fuck you have to say about me?
I gotta say you've interrupted our podcast like 4 times already.
Hey,
I don't even know why
this
we
is-
have you on this
is
one.
my show. This is on the Joshua Adam 45 media conglomerate. It's not in the Siva Gunner explained hellscape. It's not in
hellscape.
the there's no lifeboat kids running around. Life vest kids running around doing angsty shit. No. We're here. We're talking about literature. We're talking about literary genius. No time for memes. So what was your favorite part of 1776?
My favorite part was the podcast where they just shit on this one game as if it's that much worse than any of the other ones.
Such a good podcast.
I really wanted more episodes of that. I'm kind of sad.
I feel like
that was
that's
the only
something we'd
one.
make.
It's
Were those
shit
two
on-
guys fine-looking brothers?
Hey, they could have been. You never know.
Yeah. I feel like this is like a thing that should be assigned in like philosophy classes at like college.
About mortality, or I mean
Yeah,
immortality.
like in like learning about like mortality and shit. They should assign this. I feel like it would be cool.
It would be really cool. I honestly, I think this has like almost changed my outlook on life. Is that too like?
How so? Explain.
I don't. I just look at things through a different lens now that I read it. It just changed the way I think about life. So I'm not gonna live forever. I would love to. I would love to live in this world, but I'm not going to. So I need to like use my time well.
You see, I know what you mean. For me, it was more like. Damn, like. This isn't. It sucks, so that I'm not gonna be immortal.
Yeah.
So, God, like it's funny because. It seems like the message they're trying to get across is that you shouldn't want to be immortal. But for us, it's kind of like, this is like the most appealing world ever. Like, I would love to live in this world.
Yeah, it really did appeal to me. I don't know if it was supposed to, but it did.
Zach, you never have to eat.
Yes, it would be.
We wouldn't be waiting on you to finish your food because you'd be able to take all the time in the world.
No, but you don't understand. I would, if I had unlimited time. Do you know how long it would take me to eat? I'd eat a meal for a year.
But that's a question. Do you get hungry in this world? Do you feel hunger? I assume you do.
I assume not. Or
so you just eat when you want to eat?
Did they say something about the nanobots? Like,
they said the nanobots can generate granola bars when you're starving, I think.
Yeah, that was it.
So I guess you do feel hunger.
Yeah, I guess they still eat, but food is free. Food can be conjured up from nothing into a granola bar.
But it's like shitty food. Like if you want real food, you still have to go out and seek it out. It doesn't just generate.
Yes, but people who make it are making it because they want to, right?
I feel like that would improve the quality of food. Like,
it would.
I feel like
it would. Like everyone who just really enjoys cooking, they just cook. They just cook for people.
There are some inconsistencies though.
Yeah.
Like how major corporations like still exist, like Burger King, like.
No, like why wouldn't they?
Because the head of Burger King isn't doing it because he has a passion for burgers. The head of Burger King is doing it because he wants a shit ton of money.
Okay, so he steps down. He steps down,
and
and someone else who really likes running Burger King steps up and goes, "All right, I'm going to run Burger King."
That's true. You're right.
And think about it. Like you only need like one person to run the restaurant, because it doesn't matter how long you wait for your food. You're living forever. The time that you wait to do something is irrelevant. I guess you might get hungry, but I figure they have ways of dealing with that.
They can eat a fucking granola bar.
Yeah, exactly. Well, they'll spoil their appetite.
But there's no need. There's nothing to spoil. Time. Oh shit. And I love that this was released as like a column on a genuine sports news website. This was released as a column of what football would be like in the future. On a I didn't realize SB Nation wasn't just a site he made for this story. Like, I was listening to Ben talking about it. He's like, it's a real sports like journalism site.
This man is he's the creative director at SB Nation. So they just let him like make this
do whatever he wants.
They pay him to make this, essentially.
So he's essentially like Hunter S. Thompson, but like cool.
Yes, and alive.
Like where it's just like he uses like these like generic publications and makes them his bitch, so he can do whatever the fuck he wants with them. Man, I gotta do something like that. I gotta get in with like a publication and have them like let me do whatever the fuck I want.
You gotta get the boys treatment. Let's hear it for the boys. Let's hear it for the boys.
He did good.
He's a genius.
Probably gonna subscribe to him on YouTube and
definitely follow his Twitter. It's real funny.
I'm gonna follow it right now. What's his Twitter?
John_Boyce.
BOIS.
Yes.
And we've spoiled literally the entire thing. So if you haven't read it yet, you're fucked. But Just followed.
His Twitter's like a great mix of like surrealist humor and football things I don't understand.
Dad, husband, craft beer, House of Cards junkie, college alum, hashtag Team Bacon. There's always money in the banana stand. Arrested Development quote. His thing is Hobbes from Calvin and Hobbes.
Yes, he was very inspired by... Can
he make this a real podcast?
I would love... I really do want to hear about more... I hope he just talks about more games in the future.
So good. I still don't know which one's my favorite. I really like the one on that one small field with like the whole territories carved out and shit. That one's great.
Yeah, that one is great.
Jesse follows him. Jesse read it.
Everyone who read 17776 follows
You know
this
Digi's
guy.
never gonna fucking do it.
It takes like 3 hours.
God. But
I feel like Digi would really love to live in 17776.
Oh my
He's so
God.
afraid of death. Yes.
Like essentially my final verdict is that this has made Homestuck obsolete. Like Homestuck's just this massive bulky thing. The only thing that Homestuck has over it, it's funny because Homestuck is famous for like having amazing music, but I love the music in this anyway. It just fits it perfectly.
Who even made the music in this?
I don't know, but it's like this shitty meaty jazz almost, and it's great.
It's so perfect.
Like the thing Homestuck has, I guess, over it, it has really like distinct characters that you can sort of latch onto, like because in the 17776 has great characters.
They're not really latchable,
you don't see,
other than
you
the
don't
main
see
ones.
them. There's no visual element to them. It's just you hear their stories, and they're in like small parts. They're never really like there for the whole time. Like Homestuck, you have like these characters that people like dedicate their entire lives to on Tumblr and shit. Like that's the only thing really, and
yeah,
honestly,
which is weird because the humans in 17776 are like the least relatable ones. The person that I relate the most with is a satellite, is a whatever they're called. What do they call them? They're not satellites because they don't orbit Earth, but they're that sort of thing. They're a piece of metal flying through space. And the most relatable character in the entire story is the Jupiter Icy Moon Explorer. to the point where I'm probably going to cry when he launches in 5 years. I'm gonna be sad.
crazy.
I'm gonna feel legitimate emotion for this for a spacecraft. And I think a lot of other people will too.
I like the whole conundrum that they have, whether is this just heaven and no one realizes it? Like, did people, we know it's not heaven because we're listening to satellites. Like, we know it's not. But like, I like this whole perspective that people have on Earth, where it's like, is this just heaven? Like, did I die and this is heaven? Like, and it's like, what did someone say? Like, I feel fear, so I know it's not heaven, or something like that.
Yeah, I love that there still is religion, right? Like, people don't know how to interpret the world.
It makes sense that there would still be religion.
I love that the satellites are also, like, partially religious. The spacecrafts.
Yeah. Like, the whole religion as a concept was invented to explain the unexplainable. So,
and
there's something
literally
here
their
that's
entire
blatantly
existence.
unexplainable.
Yeah. So there is some merit to it still existing, but I thought it was interesting.
It was great.
It was great.
10 out of 10. I don't know. Like, you see, the thing is, I'm not saying it's like it's great, but I wouldn't say it's a masterpiece.
I'd say it's a masterpiece, easy.
Like,
this is a column on a sports website, and it tells a story about immortality. It's a masterpiece.
Interesting though, because I will definitely come back to it like every once in a while. Like I'll think about it pretty frequently, but it's not something like, let's say, Gurren Lagann or something where I'll be thinking about it every day forever until I die. Like, or it's like, you know what I mean? Like, there's certain things where it's like, I consume this piece of media and I love it so much and I have such a profound thing with it that it's like, this, I will think about this for like a good portion of a day, every single day for the rest of my life. Like, since I've consumed it. Like, I think that applies to Gurren Lagann, Kagura Project, like One Piece. Like, it's just these things that I've consumed, and I'm like, for at least a little bit each day, I'll always think about it forever. Like 1776, I'll think about it time and time again, but I don't see it being one of those things where I'm like, this is one of my new all-time masterpiece things. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get you, but to me, I think it may be.
It's definitely... See, I loved it, but it's definitely something I could see you definitely appreciating.
And you would be correct, because I very much do appreciate it. It's a masterpiece.
So, anything else to say about 17776?
No, that's about it. I'm very hungry. I need a granola bar.
Go read it. If you listen to this, there's no point reading it. We've said everything. But
yeah, hey, don't listen to this if you haven't read it.
Go read it. Go watch Ben Saint's video on it. Unless you want waifus, don't read Homestuck anymore.
Yeah, there's no point. 17776 does everything that Homestuck can do, but better and in a much briefer amount of time.
Well, if you live in the 17776 world, by all means read Homestuck.
Just retweet something as you're signing off.
I retweeted a couple of things. They were too good to pass.
This literally just showed up as you were signing off. So, like, as you were giving that little monologue, you retweeted Ninjas of Love.
I did, and I retweeted something else, too.
What else did you retweet? I can't see. I can't, it's not showing up?
Just go to my Twitter.
Oh, because I already saw that. That's why it didn't show up. All right. Thank you for listening to this absolute garbage podcast. Good night.
I think it went pretty good.
Yeah, me too. Good night.
Good night.